This is Tommy Newberry, and welcome back to Achieving Optimal. In this episode, I want to talk about 3 reasons why your morning ritual may not be all that you want it to be. So I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why your E.M.S.R might blow up or fall apart. First of all, you've got to understand that your early morning success ritual is one of the most important rituals or acts of discipline that you can engage in. Early morning success ritual is really the foundation of your day. It's critical because what you do first thing in the morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. It's a way of getting in all of your or several of your values first thing in the morning. A lot of my clients have kind of come to this conclusion. If you want to know how my day is doing, don't ask me how my day is, just ask me how was my E.M.S.R. In other words, they've seen and observed and experienced firsthand the correlation between a strong early morning success ritual and how the rest of their days plays out. And you will too. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So mornings have consequences. That's worthy of remembering. Kind of over obvious, but a lot of people don't emphasize that particular point. What you do first thing in the morning has a influence, a ripple effect throughout the rest of the day, and it can make one of your days be less than it could have been, and then it can become a habit. Why don't people have, a strong E.M.S.R? Why don't people go to the trouble to develop a E.M.S.R that really works? I think the biggest reason is that they don't understand the value of an early morning success ritual. But Henry Ward Beecher put it like this: the first hour of the day is the rudder of the day, meaning it steers everything else. One of my clients called me, this has been almost 25 years ago, and he said, Tommy, the E.M.S.R is a $100,000 habit. And then he left a message, and I was really impressed with that. And about a week later, he left another message. He said, Tommy, this is Bruce. Just want to tell you, it's not a $100,000 habit, it's a $1 million habit. And I think he was absolutely right. But if this is true, why do so many people not follow through on their E.M.S.R, or why do they not have one that inspires them? Because that's what I want for you. I want you to optimize your morning. So there are a couple of things that I think will stand out to you about your E.M.S.R that I think it'll resonate, but I want to talk about 3 particular points that could undermine what you're trying to accomplish. And so point number 1 is weak ambition. This probably doesn't apply to you, but you might know some people in your life that it applies to. But the thinking goes like this, and I've observed this for years and years. If you're not that ambitious, meaning overall in life, if you don't have huge goals, then it's real easy to not think that the morning matters, that you can go to bed whenever you want to go to bed, wake up at the last possible minute, have a hectic, frantic, cortisol-producing morning, and then rush out of the house and rush through traffic and probably be stressed out during traffic and get to your first appointment with, the day already a negative for you or already being in a hole. Some people think that they're not a morning person. I think this is BS. And the reason I do is because since the mid-90s, I've been working with individuals who claimed not to be morning people, and I've convinced them, I've strong-armed them, I've persuaded them, try the E.M.S.R and do it for a couple of months, and they did. Sometimes they fell off the wagon, had to get back on, but they did, and they became sold on that early morning success ritual. So if you have one designed the right way, it's compelling and it will motivate you to follow through. So, nothing really happens if you don't have a strong enough why. I mean, if you want to accomplish something in life overall, you need a strong why. You need lots of reasons for why you should follow through and exert the self-discipline, why you should delay gratification. So point number 1 for why E.M.S.Rs fall apart is that there tends to be weak motivation. And the good news is that that's easy to fix. Point number 2, no clear focus. So a lot of people get excited when I talk about the early morning success ritual and they think, I'm going to set one up. And then they wake up earlier the next morning and they don't really know what to do, which is an easy mistake. It doesn't need to be that way. I can help you, I can coach you through the process of creating a world-class E.M.S.R. Remember, the early morning success ritual is a setup to your day. It's much like what a world-class athlete would have before his or her event. They wouldn't just fall out of bed and then go out onto the track or go out into the arena or the court or whatever. They would have a ritual that they follow before they get moving. And so that's what I want for you. You're not maybe trying to become a world-class athlete, but you're trying to become a world-class human being. That's far more important, of course. So what constitutes a successful E.M.S.R? Kind of pausing there for dramatic effect, but I want you to think about what has to happen for you to consider your early morning success ritual tomorrow morning to be optimal, to be exactly what you wanted it to be. What has to happen for you to have a successful E.M.S.R? And that is the starting point, because if you don't have that clear focus, then you're likely to kind of be all over the place, be scattered with what you do in the morning, or kind of thinking about what you should do next. And when you do that, it's not as engaging, it's not as fun, and you'll probably fall off from the habit before it even kicks into place. So you want to design a E.M.S.R that is productive, of course. You want it to be fun. You want it to be fresh. Keeping it fresh usually involves, mixing new things in there. But if it's not fresh, then you will get bored with it maybe. But it's designed to be fun, fresh, productive, and engaging. And I like to use 3 specific points, 3 specific areas of influence, if you will, to make sure that you know exactly how you're going to use your time. And the 3 that I use, there's probably more, but these are 3 good ones, is number 1, spiritual. So you want to connect with God first thing in the morning. Maybe that is a devotion, prayer, maybe it's some Bible study, maybe it's reviewing your favorite Bible verses, maybe it's meditating on the scriptures, maybe it's a combination of all of those things, maybe it's practicing gratitude, but doing something, you get the idea, doing something that connects you with your Creator before you get off and into the rest of your day. It's putting God first, connecting with your Creator, and working on your peace and your joy before you head out to the world to interact with others. So spiritual, and then the next thing would be mental or directional. So spiritual, then directional. Directional has to do with looking at your goals, maybe your lifetime goals, your short-term goals, maybe your goals for the day, or your priorities, or your to-do list. If you have a mission statement, to be looking at your mission statement. If there's 3 qualities that you have identified, such as being generous, profitable, loving, something like that, and you're working to express or demonstrate those qualities, you'd look at them every single morning. You'd be reminded of where you want to go. If you have a goal map or a vision map, something like that, you would look at that first thing in the morning. Maybe you would meditate on your goals. So you've just meditated maybe on scripture. Now you're going to meditate on your goals. Those are the kinds of things that make the mind, your mind, work for you versus against you the rest of the day. And then the third piece would be physical. So we had spiritual. You want to prepare to do something spiritually. You want to prepare to do something mentally or directionally. And then you want to prepare to do something physically. So you don't have to have your entire workout. Maybe you don't want to do your workout first thing in the morning, but you should do some kind of movement, some kind of physical activity. Maybe it's a plank, maybe it's some push-ups, jumping jacks, wall squats, you name it. Maybe it's a walk around the neighborhood while you do something spiritual like pray. Maybe it's a walk and pray, that kind of thing. There's lots of ideas. Maybe you can walk around the neighborhood just a little bit, listening to something on Audible or listening to your favorite music. Those are all great ideas. So you need to have that kind of clear direction. And when you do, it changes everything. And again, those three, the spiritual, the directional, and the physical, those are just the beginning. But those are the three base ones that I like to use and that I share with clients. So point number 3 is lack of preparation. So let's say you're motivated, all right? You understand why having a great E.M.S.R is essential for you. And then 2, you've got a clear focus on how you're going to use your time. The third point that could still throw you off kilter, that could cause your E.M.S.R to blow up and fall apart, is that you don't prepare for it properly. Now, this doesn't have to be a lot of time, but day one, it probably is a lot of time. Like if you don't have an E.M.S.R right now, or you used to have one and you're not currently practicing it, and you decide you want to get started again tomorrow morning, well, what you have to do tonight to get ready is going to be more than what you're probably going to have to do the next night. But here's the phrase that I want you to remember. Set the table. If you want to avoid having your E.M.S.R stink and not be fun and not be productive, then set the table the night before. And that means be obsessive with your preparation. Get ready the night before. What I found, maybe this applies to you, maybe it doesn't, is after dinner, I like to get ready as soon after dinner as possible, because if I wait too late in the evening, then it's easy to get tired or to get drowsy and think, you know what? I'll just get ready when I wake up in the morning, but that tends to be a trap. So maybe you get home, and as soon as you have discretionary time, you plan the morning, and that means ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish tomorrow morning? And it'll typically be the same kind of things, unless you want to change it up for some short-term reason. You've got a presentation or a big event, or you're traveling or something like that. So the night before, decide what you want to accomplish the next morning. And then once you've decided what you want to accomplish, and maybe you can use those 3 criteria. So what was the first one? Spiritual. And then we've got directional or mental. And then the third is physical. So you decide what you want to accomplish in each of those and overall, and then you get everything ready so there's not much thinking or setup that has to be done in the morning. That's why I call it setting the table. So if you're going to read the Bible, get your Bible out. And now that I've mentioned that, it makes me think, well, where are you going to read the Bible or read anything? So decide on the physical location of where you're going to be. And if it is reading the Bible or devotion, get those things out. If it's reading a devotion, go ahead and have a bookmark in that particular page. Or I have some clients that will just, flip the Bible or flip the book they're reading over with the page open to the page that they're going to start on, and it's just sitting out on their desk. That's a great idea. If you're going to memorize Bible verses, or you want to simply review Bible verses, maybe put those by the coffee machine. You want to have your clothes. It sounds like I'm talking to a elementary school child, but you want to have your clothes ready and set out. You want to have already chosen what are you going to wear tomorrow. Sounds kind of silly, I know, but we want to minimize decision making in the morning. Some people call that decision fatigue, where you get up, you got to make all these choices. No, we want to make them the night before. That's why I call it setting the table. Go ahead and decide how everything's going to work out. So your goals, wherever you write your goals down, whether it's on a document, or you're using some of our tools, or you've got it on an iPad, something like that, have that ready, sitting out, and have it charged. So we're trying to cover all of the details. So if you're going to work out, obviously have your workout gear ready. Have it as close to the door or wherever you're going to change, kind of obvious stuff. Think through everything and then be willing to improve it as time goes on. And so I find that ear pods are something that I always use, so I want to make sure that those are charged. I have an E.M.S.R soundtrack or playlist of a few songs that fire me up. I have a couple of options there, but I'm always listening to something that either inspires me, motivates me, pumps me up, that kind of thing. So what would that be for you? What kind of music would you want to listen to? That's a part of your routine. You want to get it out. If you have chores to do in the morning, you've got to straighten up. Well, hopefully that could be done the night before. let's say you've got to feed the dog or something like that, you want to have that as simplified and systemized as possible so that you're not looking for the dog food or the bowl or anything like that. Yeah, you want to get down into all these nitty-gritty details. I'm probably leaving some out, but if you've got to go to a gym, then you want to make sure you have your bath kit and all that stuff handy, everything done. One great thing to do is put everything you need in your car. If you're living in a place where you feel good about leaving stuff in your car, go ahead and put everything in your car. Make sure your devices are charged up, every little gadget that you need. And of course, many of my clients now are taking their own lunch to the office or wherever they're going for the day so they can control what they're eating. So you don't want to be making the food in the morning, so make it the night before, get it stored properly, and be ready to go. Same thing with like coffee, supplements, be ready to go. All right, so I think that's about covers it, except for a really, really, really big deal that could kind of override everything else that you've done right if you don't do it, and that is sleep. You've got to get the right amount of sleep. So if you know that you need 8 hours of sleep, then and you need to get up at 6 in order to do what you want for an hour or 30 minutes or whatever the amount of time is that you think you need, then you just back your way into your bedtime. Well, if you want to get up at 6 to get your E.M.S.R done, that means you need to go to bed at 10. If you think you only need 7 hours, then you can go to bed a little bit later, but that will throw you off track. And so my advice to you is, even if you get less sleep, go ahead and get up and do your E.M.S.R, groggy though you may be. If you don't get a chance to set up and prepare for the day, go ahead and get up and do it. So let's say you're unprepared and you're sleep deprived, get up and do your E.M.S.R anyway. If you're unmotivated, unprepared and sleep deprived, get up and do it anyway. And what will happen is you will start to see the benefits of doing it, and it'll motivate you to do it better and better over time. So to overcome weak motivation, what do you need to do? You need to remind yourself of what's in it for you to crush your early morning success ritual and how much better your life will be as a result. To clarify your focus, what I recommend is that you write or type out a clear, articulatable sentence that says, this is what I'm trying to accomplish as a result of my E.M.S.R. And then I like to review that or modify that and get very specific with it the night before. To overcome lack of preparation, make a checklist. This is your E.M.S.R checklist. So make a checklist and then execute it early, and the early in the night before as possible. And the reason for that is checklists don't require willpower. They're just there available for you to reference. And so that's what I want you to do. I don't want you to have to think about things that could be systematized or put into a checklist form. So you have your checklist, and then you execute the checklist before you go to bed, and that's very, very powerful. And then the last piece is, let's say tomorrow is your first really focused, really intentional early morning success ritual. You know what? It's not going to be perfect. It may even be rocky. There may be some things that go wrong or that you forgot about. So constantly fine-tune, constantly improve that checklist. I like that. Most of my clients like that kind of mentality where you go do something and then you debrief, you ask yourself what went well with it, what didn't, what should I change, and then you fine-tune it. So in this case, it would be you execute your E.M.S.R tomorrow, then you realize a few things didn't go as planned and you can do them better, so you revise the checklist, you execute it that evening, and then rinse and repeat, as they say. Rinse and repeat and do it again and constantly refine these things. So if you want to have a strong E.M.S.R and you're not currently hitting your full potential as far as that is concerned, take action today. Don't put this off. Take action today, get ready, because your success blesses others.